Thank you for joining NMH at 1, where we highlight the news making headlines in the land of the brave and beyond, ranging from current affairs to community stories, sports and economic news. I am Ashwin Berry and these are the news headlines. Government says there's nothing they can do about ablution facilities which have closed down Omusati School. 70,000 Namibian dollars of school uniform donated by David Namwandi Trust. And Sudan enters day 4 of deadly violence. Stay with us as we head into the midday news update after the break. Business icon Sven Thieme has resigned from the board of Namibia Breweries Limited following Heineken NV taking control of the local beer giant on Friday. After over a century as an iconic company which had the largest say coming from Namibians, Heineken NV, the world's second largest brewer, officially became the majority shareholder in Nambrew on Friday. Heineken now owns all of NBL Investment Holdings, which owns 59.4% of the shares in Nambrew on the Namibian Stock Exchange. The Dutch beer giant acquired Oldhaver and lists 50.01% stake in NBLAIH in a multi-billion-dollar transaction, having already owned 49.99%. Thieme is the chairman of Oldhaver and List. Thieme's resignation became effective on Friday. Remember to engage with these stories on our social media throughout the broadcast. Visual news coming up after the break.
Discover the breathtaking beauty of Namibia with Tourismus, a captivating program that uncovers the country's diverse landscapes, wildlife, and cultural experiences. Featuring insightful interviews with tourism experts, each episode takes you on a mesmerizing journey, exploring Namibia's majestic sand dunes, vibrant wildlife, and unique attractions. Watch Tourismus on NTV, Saturdays at 20:30 in German, and Sundays at 6 p.m. in English, for a heartwarming and unforgettable adventure.
Omusati Education Director Benny Aseb told parents earlier this month who were demonstrating for better ablution facilities for Oshukwa Combined School in Omusati region that the government does not have money and the way to go for now is pit latrines. The school has run out of space to dig more pits.
In our country, that's why the police officers are with us. It's legal. The only problem I'm having is their parents. Our first demonstration was to take our kids out of the school. Why? So that the government can listen to you. Because of the fact that the letter was not attended to, not purposely. The person who's supposed to attend to the letter was not in the region. The parents have decided, okay, you are not listening, we are going to demonstrate. This is the second demonstration. There will be a third demonstration. There will be a fourth demonstration, dear parents. But the government has bureaucratic system. My hands are cut off. There is nothing I can do tomorrow to bring the learners back. The only thing which I could hear from the principal she doesn't like is the temporary toilet. But that is the way to go. Yeah.
The David Namwandi Trust had over the weekend donated school uniforms and other items for senior citizens valued at over 70,000 Namibian dollars. Founder of IUM and former Education Minister David Namwandi pledged to continue supporting vulnerable children and education. He called on stakeholders to do the same, as the government cannot do it alone. Enzo Amwele was there.
Life is all about sharing. If you don't share the little you have, history will judge you harshly. Look, when you get up every morning, the most important thing, when you get up every morning, ask yourself a question. How do I want people to remember me for when I'm no more?
Africa is set for this Thursday, the first by a Namibian head of state in 11 years. An update on this story follows in the newspaper review segment.
To another exciting episode of Irongo Talk. We bring jou lees die weer en vertel ook vir julle waar die vis julle mondstuk kan byt.
Namibian Sun's front page reports that President Gengob's state visit to South Africa this Thursday, the first by a Namibian head of state in 11 years, comes at a time when Namibia is trying to emerge from the economic shadows of its proverbial big brother. The last state visit by former President Hifikepunye Pohamba was in 2012. When Namibia gained independence in 1990, she was dubbed a new small state with a powerful neighbor, in reference to South Africa, whose economic dominance of the region has remained as strong as it ever was. Export statistics from the South African Revenue Service for January to February this year show Namibia is South Africa's fourth biggest African export destination, with 11.59% of that country's African exports going to their northern neighbor. Page 3 of the paper reports that despite forecasts for good seasonal rainfall for this year, March was yet another disappointing month. Rainfall performance showed a general decrease throughout the country, with very few exceptions. The highest amount of rain recorded was 129.4 millimeters in Omafo, which is 32% above its normal rainfall of 98 millimeters. This according to the rainfall bulletin issued by the Namibia Meteorological Services. Very low rain was observed over the western and southern parts of the country. High amounts of rainfall were only observed over the eastern parts of the country, it said. The Prosecutor General's decision must be set aside, as she acted irrationally by deciding to simply try me, hoping that during the trial incriminating evidence will emerge against me. These are the words of British billionaire and murder accuser Harvey Butler in a statement in his case against Prosecutor General Martha Imalwa, in which he seeks to challenge her decision to try him on murder and other charges. This is reported on Republican's front page, which expands that Butler claimed there is no reason for his prosecution because there is no evidence that he shot his farm worker Gerard van Veek intentionally on 27 February 2021. Republican reports on its page 3 that the skull of King or Chief Fritz Arabib is still somewhere in Germany after he was killed by German soldiers in 1914. This is what his descendant, the chief of the Kaikomsan people of Namibia, Chief Ananias Soroseb, said this weekend in a message to kick off 2023. Soroseb says the government has informed him there are plans to repatriate the skull to Namibia. At a rally in Grootfontein with more than 100 community members and around 20 San leaders, Soroseb shared the latest on various challenges that San people in Namibia face. Soroseb informed the San people present about the effort to have his position as leader recognized by the Council of Traditional Leaders. On its front page, the Algemene Zeitung leads with hydrogen and what Namibia stands to gain. At the moment, the challenges that a production of green hydrogen poses to Namibia seem enormous, reports the paper, highlighting that Germany, however, seems to want to tackle these challenges together with Namibia. A win-win situation is to be brought about. The AZ also reports on UK billionaire Harvey Butler's counterclaim. In February, Butler approached the High Court in Windhoek to have the decision of the Attorney General's office overturned to protect him from prosecution. He gives his rendition of the events of that fateful day. We'll be continuing with the newspaper review, starting with the Namibian after the break.
Welcome to What's Cooking, where culinary passion meets expert insights.
Somebody must really want to cook and want to cook good food.
Immerse yourself in the bustling world of professional kitchens as top chefs create mouthwatering dishes. Join us for in-depth interviews as our host explores the experiences and expertise of our guest chefs. Don't miss out. Tune in to What's Cooking on NTV every Friday at 2100 hours and let the culinary adventure begin.
The Namibian newspaper reports that Namibia's biggest gold mine, B2 Gold Namibia, which last week announced a phased closure process, has for the past 9 years sold gold worth over 25 billion Namibian dollars. The mine made a profit of 5 billion Namibian dollars between 2018 and 2021. This sales revenue was made from over 33 tons of gold the company has unearthed at the mine between Oshwarongo and Otavi, and shows that the company has been profitable for a substantial period of time. According to the paper's page 3, the Namibian government says nuclear technology holds significant potential for the country's socio-economic and developmental agenda. Health Minister Kalumbi Shangula yesterday called on Namibians to take a proactive approach in advancing the country's interests in nuclear energy, as well as promoting regional collaboration within the framework of the Pelindaba Treaty. On to New Era. The monthly bond on a 1.2 million Namibian dollar house has increased by an average of 2,590 Namibian dollars in the last 2 years. This is because the domestic home loan interest rate in 2021 was 8.5% compared to the current 11.75%. Now, consumers fervently await the latest repo rate increase by the Bank of Namibia scheduled for tomorrow, with analysts expecting the rate to reach 7.5% from the current 7%, which is basically in line with the South African repo rate that recently reached 7.75%, taking that country's prime interest rate up 11.25%. Oshwarongo Municipality CEO Moses Muchkai, who came second in the protracted recruitment process for the much-coveted City of Windhoek CEO position, has been recommended to get the job. The conclusion of the recruitment process was confirmed by Chairperson of the Management Committee Sam Shafishuna Nyoma yesterday after New Era queried about developments regarding the critical position in the capital. "I can confidently tell you that we, the Council, are done with the process. Only the administration part is outstanding. We have already directed administration personnel to write to the minister on the decision made, and we are now waiting for the minister to respond," said the newly elected chairperson of the management committee. According to MarketWatch, a total of 184 building plans was approved by the City of Windhoek in March, a 10.2% month-on-month increase from 167 approved in February, according to IJG Securities. In monetary terms, the approvals were valued at 102.6 million Namibian dollars, a 41.1% increase from the 72.67 Namibian million approved in February. The Namibian Investment Promotion and Development Board and the World Bank Group have successfully concluded the Chelete Cage pitch event. More details coming up in economic news.
Welcome to My.NA Cars, your ultimate destination for everything automotive.
I am your host, Diana Master.
Teamwork makes the dream work, right?
Discover the latest models, innovative technologies, and expert insights from our passionate hosts. Learn essential maintenance tips and get exclusive behind-the-scenes access to the automotive industry. Don't miss My.NA Cars on NTV every Thursday at 2100 hours. Tune in and ignite your passion for automobiles.
Heading into economic news, the Namibia Investment Promotion and Development Board and the World Bank Group have successfully concluded the Chelete Cage pitch event, providing a crucial platform for innovative startups and micro, small and medium enterprises to raise funds and meet their capital needs. The initiative, held recently in Windhoek, marks a significant milestone in the Namibian government's efforts to address the persistent challenge of access to finance that MSMEs face in Namibia. Chelete Cage provided 8 investment-ready Namibian MSMEs in the food processing, cosmetics and manufacturing, tech and logistics industries with an opportunity to pitch their business concepts for a capital amount of 30,000, 20,000 and 10,000 Namibian dollars for their businesses. Additionally, the MSMEs were offered access to non-monetary support, including guidance on how to approach potential investors and tips on perfecting their pitch. The project aims to empower MSMEs and encourage them to take a critical look at their business models, market positioning and growth potentials. Let's have a look at the economic indicators. The Namibian dollar maintained its value next to the euro and US dollar and registering some upticks next to the British pound and Chinese yuan, currently trading at 2.66 Namibian dollars for 1 Chinese yuan. Capricorn Investment Group Limited managed a 14.15 point increase, whilst Namibian Breweries maintained its value. Both the local index and the overall index closed up 0.19%. Looking at commodities, gold, copper, and zinc, all three of them made some downturns at 0.18, 0.65, and 0.86% respectively, whilst Brent crude oil made a 0.25% uptick. Sounds of gunfire are still being heard in Sudan's capital, Khartoum, despite mounting pressure for rival groups to cease the fighting. The full story coming up after the break.
Welcome to Active Kids, a daily TV show that sparks creativity, learning, and fun for young minds. With exciting activities and lessons, Active Kids inspires curiosity and a love for learning.
New face to the 15.
The perfect mix of play and education. Don't miss out on the fun. Tune into Active Kids on NTV every weekday at 10 o'clock and let the adventure begin.
A justice and democracy campaigner in Khartoum, Halaya Al-Karib, told BBC's Newsday program that she could still hear very loud artillery sounds around her. There is nowhere to go because it's more dangerous to step out and there are no safe routes, she said, adding that the situation in Khartoum is extremely deteriorating. The Sudanese army and a paramilitary group called the Rapid Support Forces are reportedly still engaged in fierce fighting to control the military headquarters in the capital. Al Arabiya TV reported sounds of bombings and heavy gunfire in the vicinity of the General Command on Tuesday. Fighting is also reported around Khartoum Airport and other places in Omdurman and Khartoum Bahri. Both sides have claimed control of the army command as well as the main airport. There have been multiple international calls for an end to the fighting, which is now in its fourth day and has led to 200 deaths. Nigeria has approved a new malaria vaccine developed by the scientists at Oxford University. The move comes days after Ghana became the first country in the world to approve the vaccine. The head of Nigeria's National Agency for Food and Drugs Administration, Mojisola Adegeye, said the vaccine would be used for the prevention of malaria in children aged between 5 months and 3 years, the most vulnerable group. The approval is unusual as it comes before the publication of final stage trial data for the vaccine, which is thought to be 80% effective. Nigeria has the highest number of malaria deaths worldwide. The disease kills more than 6,000 people around the world every year, many of them children in sub-Saharan Africa. The case against African National Congress MP Sibusiso Kula has been postponed to 26 April 2023 for his attorney to present an application to oppose further postponement on the matter. Kula, 34, who appeared at the Orkney Magistrates Court on Monday, is accused of killing his wife last year. Jennifer Mohlomi was found murdered on the 27th of November 2022 in what seemed like a robbery, according to reports. She was found with a stab wound in her back, but the murder weapon has not been recovered. National Prosecuting Authority regional spokesperson Henry Mamotame said Kula's attorney intended to present the application in court. However, the recording devices had technical glitches which forced the matter to be postponed. We'll be heading into international news shortly, starting with news from the British Parliament.
To another exciting episode of Iran World Talk. We bring jou liefst weer en vertel ook vir julle waar die vis heel moontlik gaan byt.
The British Parliament's Commissioner for Standards opened an investigation into Prime Minister Rishi Sunak earlier this month, according to a list of open inquiries posted on its website on Monday. The list said the matter under investigation was a declaration of interest. The inquiry began on the 13th of this month. The spokesperson for Sunak said the investigation was linked to his wife's shareholding in a childcare firm. The Liberal Democrats and opposition party had called for an investigation after media reports said Akshata Murthy was a shareholder in a company company which could benefit from a government policy on funding for childcare announced in the March budget. The commissioner is responsible for monitoring the operation of the House of Commons Code of Conduct and Registers, including investigating any alleged breaches. The commissioner's page on the Parliament website did not provide further details on the possible breach. If the investigation finds Sunak has broken the code of conduct, the commissioner can require him to acknowledge and apologize for the breach and set out steps to avoid any future errors. Myanmar's junta on Monday began releasing more than 3,000 prisoners to mark the Buddhist New Year, without specifying whether those jailed in its bloody crackdown on dissent would be freed. The military has arrested thousands since its coup more than 2 years ago, which plunged the country into turmoil and sparked widespread clashes with anti-coup fighters. Junta chief Mini Aung Hlaing pardoned 3,015 prisoners to mark Myanmar New Year for the peaceful mind of the people and on humanitarian grounds, the junta's information team said in a statement. Those who reoffend would have to serve the remainder of their sentence with an additional penalty, the statement said. It did not say whether anti-junta protesters or journalists jailed covering the coup and its aftermath would be among those freed. A further 98 foreigners serving sentences in Myanmar would also be pardoned and freed, according to a separate junta statement that did not provide details. We'll be heading into local sports, starting with Blue Waters.
Welcome to What's Cooking, where culinary passion meets expert insights.
Somebody must really want to cook and want to cook good food.
Immerse yourself in the bustling world of professional kitchens as top chefs create mouthwatering dishes. Join us for in-depth interviews as our host explores the experiences and expertise of our guest chefs. Don't miss out. Tune in to What's Cooking on NTV every Friday at 2100 hours and let the culinary adventure begin.
Discover the breathtaking beauty of Namibia with Tourismus, a captivating program that uncovers the country's diverse landscapes, wildlife, and cultural experiences. Featuring insightful interviews with tourism experts, each episode takes you on a mesmerizing journey, exploring Namibia's majestic sand dunes, vibrant wildlife, and unique attractions. Watch Tourismus on NTV, Saturdays at 20:30 in German, and Sundays at 6 p.m. in English, for a heartwarming and unforgettable adventure.
Heading into local sport on NMH at 1, Blue Waters continued their winning ways with a 4-0 victory over young Brazilians on Sunday at Jan Wilkins Stadium in Walvis Bay. Log leaders African Stars restored their confidence with a morale-boosting 3-0 over 11 Arrows. African Stars are at the top of the log with 61 points from 19 wins, 4 draws and 1 defeat after 24 games. Blue Waters follows in second position with 47 points after 14 wins, 5 draws and 4 defeats after 23 games. The Irongo Conference provided great rugby action as defending champions Sparta 1 took on Dolphins, who haven't taken part in the competition since 2019, while Sparta 2 took on Etosha Lions, who have also been absent from the tournament for more than 2 years. The games took place at Tamariskia Sports Stadium in Swakopmund. In the first game, Sparta 2 took on Etosha Lions, who traveled all the way from Tsumeb. It was a very tight game, but Etosha Lions controlled the game and were rewarded when Giovan Rittman scored the first try. Now Duplessis scored 2 tries, while George Turner added 2 conversions for his team. 9 Namibian wrestlers from the after-school wrestling club in Grijsblok, Katutura, have done it again, bringing home a total of 13 medals following their participation in the Frank Hubert Open in Pretoria, South Africa over the weekend, in both Greco-Roman and freestyle categories, in preparation for the 2023 African Wrestling Championships taking place in Tunis from 15 to 21 May 2023. The team was accompanied by head coach Luis Forcelado Paz and assistant coach Devin Bernard. We start off with news from Manchester United as we swing over into international sport.
Welcome to My.NA Cars, your ultimate destination for everything automotive.
I am your host, Diana Master.
Teamwork makes the dream work, right?
Discover the latest models, innovative technologies, and expert insights from our passionate hosts. Learn essential maintenance tips and get exclusive behind-the-scenes access to the automotive industry. Don't miss My.NA Cars on NTV every Thursday at 2100 hours. Tune in and ignite your passion for automobiles.
Manchester United defender Lisandro Martinez said he has successfully undergone surgery after being ruled out for the remainder of the season due to a fractured metatarsal bone. Martinez, who made 45 appearances for the United team this season in all competitions, was carried off the pitch during their 2-2 draw with Sevilla in Europa League. In a post on Instagram, Martinez said the operation went really well and that he was now focusing on recovery. The 25-year-old's injury comes with United looking to cement third place in the Premier League and capture the Europa League and FA Cup titles. Liverpool's 6-1 mauling of Leeds United at Elland Road on Monday was their best performance of the season, according to manager Jurgen Klopp, who has not ruled out a push for a Champions League place in the final weeks of the campaign. The victory was Liverpool's first in 6 games in all competitions since they beat Manchester United 7-0 in early March, as they inflicted a record home Premier League defeat on hapless Leeds, who are battling against relegation. Liverpool have also beaten Bournemouth 9-0 in their Premier League and Rangers 7-1 in the Champions League this season, but Klopp said he will always judge his players on performance rather than the number of goals they score. The DHL Stormers began their preparations for Friday night's final Vodacom United Rugby Championship League game against Benetton with 2 training sessions, which, according to assistant coach Davy Schneeman's mathematics, is 1/3 of what they've done in a month. So while head coach John Dobson was right when he said there was no silver lining from the defeat to Munster in the weekend, other than the clean injury slate, there is something tangible for the Stormers to cling to and be positive about. If you're joining us just now, this is still NMH at 1, and we'll get into the highlights from today's broadcast after the break.
Welcome to Active Kids, a daily TV show that sparks creativity, learning, and fun for young minds. With exciting activities and lessons, Active Kids inspires curiosity and a love for learning.
New face to the 15.
The perfect mix of play and education. Don't miss out on the fun. Tune into Active Kids on NTV every weekday at 10 o'clock and let the adventure begin.
Let's head into the highlights from this afternoon's broadcast. Sounds of gunfire are still being heard in Sudan's capital, Khartoum, despite mounting pressure for rival groups to cease the fighting. The British Parliament's Commissioner for Standards opened an investigation into Prime Minister Rishi Sunak earlier this month, according to a list of open inquiries posted on its website on Monday. And Blue Waters continued their winning ways with a 4-0 victory over young Brazilians on Sunday at Jan Wilkins Stadium in Walvish Bay. Those have been your highlights. Remember to tune in every weekday at 1 p.m. to spend your lunch hour with NMH at 1, catching up on the latest news in Namibia, Africa, and the world, ranging from current affairs to economic news, sports, and international headlines. It's goodbye from us in studio.